I am an Italian American, and I am not Bowdoin. What you saw in the video was called the I Am Bowdoin rally. It was not just a typical juvenile performance of leftist politics by undergraduates. The rally had full administrative support. In March 2011, someone scrawled a racial epithet on a whiteboard outside of a student's room in one of the college's dormitories. It rocked the college. The student newspaper ran a headline which read, "Bias Incident Strikes." Dean of Student Affairs Timothy Foster wrote a letter to the entire Bowdoin community expressing anger and frustration and continued anger. And the faculty released a joint statement condemning hate. The uproar culminated in the I Am Bowdoin rally, which you saw a part of, in which nearly 200 students marched into the Smith Union, strips of duct tape affixed to their mouths. One by one, they peeled the tape back and shouted out their identities. I'm an African-American New Yorker, and I am Bowdoin. I am from a lower income class, and I am still Bowdoin. I am half Chinese and half Jewish, and I am Bowdoin. I'm a single gay dad from Maine, and I am Bowdoin. I'm a trans feminist Jew, and I am Bowdoin. The professed identities of these students were overwhelmingly racial, ethnic, gender, and sexual identities. What you probably didn't notice while watching the video is that Barry Mills, president of Bowdoin College, was stood among the students. Mills wrote a few weeks later, quote, "I have to admit, I was moved beyond words by these positive expressions of identity and commitment to our college." Now, despite Mills's shortcomings, Bowdoin is an excellent institution. It has an illustrious history. Bowdoin was founded in 1794. It was a key piece in the territory of Maine's attempt to achieve statehood. In 1825, it graduated both Henry Wadsworth Longfellow and Nathaniel Hawthorne. It also graduated a United States president, Franklin Pierce, close friend of Nathaniel Hawthorne. And in 1852, it graduated the hero of Gettysburg, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, who went on to become the 6th president of Bowdoin College. Bowdoin maintained a rigorous and thoughtfully designed general education system until 1969. More on that in a moment. In the years since 1969, Bowdoin has risen to the top of the education marketplace with an endowment of nearly $1 billion and a U.S. News World Report rank of 6th best in the country, tied with Wellesley College. Bowdoin is a liberal arts institution free to pursue its own goals. And this is why we've studied Bowdoin, well, besides the immediate circumstances that Tom recounted for you. The question we asked for this report was, if it was free to pursue its own goals, what would a postmodern liberal arts college teach? Bowdoin may be excellent, but it is compromised. It suffers from curricular incoherence, stultifying ideological and political commitments, and a debasing student culture. The curricular incoherence also has a history. As I mentioned above, for over 150 years, the college required students to complete a common and challenging series of general education requirements for graduation. That changed in 1969 when Bowdoin, under the leadership of President Roger Howell, abolished all of its general education requirements. After 167 years of instruction, students could suddenly graduate from Bowdoin having completed 32 courses of their own choosing, as long as they met the requirements of a major. Howell wrote this the following year, quote, "Bowdoin does not prescribe a pattern of required liberal arts courses for all students. Instead, each student determines what pattern of courses is most liberating for him," close quote. Howell's statement is clearly an expression of resentment for Bowdoin's own past. But the liberty that Howell wanted cut both ways. both students and faculty were free. The faculty was free to pursue its own unique pedagogical interests, and Bowdoin's curriculum was soon rife with narrow topicality. Furthermore, the majors at Bowdoin, divorced from any common curricular enterprise, expanded in size and their interior structures dissolved. Students, free to design their own education, frequently graduated from Bowdoin without taking science, math, a foreign language, or other essential coursework. A sense of fragmentation set in. Something had to be done. In 1983, Bowdoin did do something. It established distribution requirements, which at the very least provided the appearance that its faculty members were corralling the wanderings of students. But the number of courses which fulfilled these requirements were far too many, and Bowdoin has altered, overhauled, and retooled this system several times since, in 1987, 2004, and most recently in 2012 and 2013. Bowdoin has struggled to find a way to focus the curriculum while respecting student autonomy. This has resulted in a compromise: notoriously capacious requirements with a facade of conceptual unity. One current requirement, for instance, exploring social differences, can be fulfilled by 203 courses listed in the catalog. Under the guise of common intellectual labor, student coursework has become radically individualized, resulting in the disappearance of the college's intellectual community beyond the immediate boundaries of the classroom. Students simply are not initiated into an intellectual community at Bowdoin. Instead, they are set loose to find themselves. In the vacuum of a positive intellectual culture, Bowdoin instead offers its students a community bound together by shared political commitments. Students are fashioned into citizens of the world, ministers of the shibboleths of the progressive left: diversity, multiculturalism, sustainability, transnationalism, gender politics, gay rights, and sexual liberation. As a result, Bowdoin's community is aggressively intolerant of dissenting voices and is highly moralistic in its own right. Though Bowdoin is moralistic, it is not moral. Like most other campus cultures across the country, male-female relationships at Bowdoin have devolved into an abusive, acquisitive, and purely transactional hookup culture in which students cycle through a series of sexual partners without any pretense to love or commitment. Bowdoin actively promotes this. For instance, it provides an endless supply of condoms and Plan B for women. But its promotion of the hookup culture is most immediately evident in the rhetoric that the administration uses to frame sexuality on campus. During new student orientation, students attend Speak About It, a mandatory play which initiates them into Bowdoin's sexual culture. Speak About It proclaims, quote, "Whatever you decide you want your relationship with sex to be about, there are opportunities out there. Whether you want to have sex or you don't, you're looking for love or a one-night stand, you're gay or straight or somewhere in between, it's all possible." Close quote. I emphasized at the beginning of my comments that Bowdoin is exceptional, but in many other ways, Bowdoin is typical. The goals Bowdoin sets for itself and the values it projects into its community and into the world beyond there's very little difference between its values and its goals from those of the other 227 selected colleges in America. A close examination of Bowdoin is a window into these other colleges as well. So what do we hope from this report? Tom said a few words on this. In my time spent on the Bowdoin campus, I met some kind-hearted and intelligent faculty members and students who love their small liberal arts college in Maine, but they are deeply troubled by its current state and its direction. The Bowdoin Project will widen the circle of discourse for those faculty members and students. Yet my hope extends beyond Bowdoin, namely that other institutions will see themselves in Bowdoin's reflection. higher education often fails to see itself clearly. Colleges are not hesitant to quote the Delphic maxim, "Know thyself," to their students, but they seldom hold themselves to the same standard. NAS, with the Bowdoin Project, is holding up the mirror. And many colleges across the country, we hope, could read our report and say, "I am Bowdoin, and I am ashamed." Thank you.